Well, my friends, if you're an Android fan, I have some pretty great news for you. Last week, I covered all of the core, base level Android 17 features from all the betas, and it was fine, but a lot of people found it underwhelming. But as you know, the Android show just finished, and it gave us a huge part 2 announcing over 20 features coming to Android 17. There is a lot to go over, guys, so real quick, let me tell you about some of the biggest, most important updates you need to know about. If you were disappointed in Android 17 so far, this video should definitely address some of those concerns. So with that said, let's get right into it. And also, guys, please don't forget to subscribe to the 9 to 5 Google YouTube channel, because this is where all of the definitive Android coverage is going to be, and you do not want to miss out on any of it. First things first, I want to get the Gemini features out of the way, and to be clear, a lot of them actually look pretty useful this time around. There was over a dozen Gemini-powered features announced at this year's Android show, and most of them have a gorgeous UI with beautiful animations built with Material 3 Expressive in mind. One of those headlining features is the addition of more agentic AI capabilities, and we got two huge ones worth noting. First is the expansion of multi-step app automation. In a specific example, Google shows us a demo where a user takes a photo of a travel brochure and gives Gemini a command to find a tour on Expedia that can accommodate a group of 6. Gemini responds very clearly, letting you know that it's on the task, and then it starts it in the background where you get a live notification showing the progress. You also get a stop task or view progress option, that way you're in complete control at all times, and when Gemini finishes the task, you get landed directly on the Expedia booking confirmation screen, which is actually pretty useful. It basically does all of the pointless menial navigation for you, and it brings you right to the checkout screen where you can review the details and pay immediately if things look good. Personally, I like this implementation, mainly because it acts like a genuine assistant that presents you with an actual completed task. At that point, all you're doing is just reviewing the details and making a decision on if you want to go through with it or not, and that's what agentic AI should be all about in the first place. By extension, they also added this functionality into Chrome for Android. The example they gave was if you're going to a show and you need to book parking, you can ask Chrome to pull the details from your ticket confirmation and handle it through a service called Spot Hero. So it seems Google is very interested in more broadly implementing this agentic AI behavior way more widely in their ecosystem. Another pretty major Gemini feature is the new Create My Widget option. As we all know, Android has always been the place where you can get the most customization, and it looks like Google is using Gemini to make that even more in-depth. With the native Android widget picker, there is now a Gemini-powered Create button, so it's not a separate app, and it's built right into the operating system. When you tap on that Create button, you get a Describe Your Widget screen with a prompt field where you can simply type the widget you want, or if you don't know what you want, you can pick a specific category like weather alerts, world clocks, daily briefings, important updates, or even a combination of the few. Once you pick what you want, you'll see a loading screen and a generated preview where you can either edit it, add it to your home screen, or give feedback on the result. We'll obviously have to get it in our hands to see how the results hold up in practice, but on first impression, it's actually a great use of AI, and I'm totally here for it. Finally, rounding all of the big headlining Gemini Intelligence features, Google has introduced an upgrade to the voice-to-text implementation called Rambler for Gboard. From what I'm understanding, it's basically Gemini Live, but for text. As the name implies, you can ramble whole paragraphs when responding to a text message, and Gboard will take everything you said and turn it into a clean, polished message. Basically, you can just fire off thoughts as much as you want, and Rambler will refine it, take out all of the redundant language, and turn it into a coherent, clear piece of communication. And it can even handle multiple languages in the same message. So in a way, it's the next logical step for the already excellent voice-to-text feature on Pixel phones, and I'm excited to get my hands on it come the full release. So those are all the big Gemini Intelligence features, but thankfully there's also a handful of additions coming to the core Android 17 experience as well. In my opinion, it really does round out all of the changes that were already introduced in the betas, and a lot of these are actually creator focused, which is quite refreshing for a change. One of these standout features is called screen reactions, and I'm sure you've seen these TikTok or Instagram videos a million times where someone's reacting to a piece of content and they have their face cut out, typically with a green screen. Well, now on Pixels, it's going to be a built-in feature that doesn't need any additional tools, and this is really smart, actually. These days, everyone and their mother is a creator, so to have a feature that reduces the barrier to entry seems like a high-level play in my book. And according to Google, it's coming to Pixel devices first this summer. Next up, still in the theme of creator-based tools, there's a few updates for Instagram to my surprise. In hindsight, it actually makes complete sense. Instagram is one of the most popular social media platforms on the planet, and in this case, Google teamed up with Meta to bring Ultra HDR playback to Instagram on, quote, advanced Android devices. There's also going to be built-in video stabilization and night sight integration for low-light shots as well. They've also fully optimized the capture-to-upload pipeline, so photos and videos stay equally as sharp as other brands, aka iPhone, so hopefully I never hear another comment again about how Instagram looks better on the iPhone, because it seems like Google has put a lot of work into making this experience a lot better. On top of that, Instagram is now fully optimized for Android tablets with a new layout that fully takes advantage of the larger screen, and this came before an iPad version, by the way, so Android fans, please feel free to brag about it. Rounding out the Instagram changes, the Edits app has two new additions. One is Smart Enhance, which is a one-tap upscaling of photos and videos using on-device AI, and the second is Sound Separation, where the Edits app can now identify and separate audio tracks to isolate wind, background noise, and music. Kind of like what we saw introduced in Google Photos a few years back. But that is not all, my friends. Google did announce the APV, or Advanced Professional Video Codec support for Android 17. This is something we already knew was coming, but alongside that, there was a mention of an Adobe Premiere app coming to Android this summer with exclusive short templates and effects. There's also a new feature coming called Pause Point, which I really like actually. You can set usage limits for a high dopamine app immediately upon opening, where it can prompt you to take a moment and reconsider before you get full access, and even redirect you to more productive apps in hopes that you might change your mind. As someone that's trying to get a healthier mindset and wean off of these high dopamine apps, I absolutely love this feature, and huge props to Google for adding this one. It's also worth mentioning there are some changes to the quick share to AirDrop feature. Nothing crazy, but Google has noted that it's expanding to more devices like Oppo, OnePlus, Vivo, Xiaomi, and Honor, which is great. More importantly though, for devices that are not compatible, you can now generate a QR code from any Android phone to instantly share it to an iOS device via the cloud. And lastly, Google and Apple are working together to overhaul the switching process. So now everything will transfer over wirelessly, including your passwords, home screen layout, and even your eSIM, which is nice. And I know that is a long list, but that is it, my friends. These are all of the huge, major additions announced at this year's Android show. To me, this is exactly what Android 17 needed to feel fully complete. Recently, as you guys know, I made a roundup video covering all of the new features that we got in these betas, and a lot of people pointed out that it seemed a bit bare. But now, after the Android show, it seems like we have a complete, full picture on what Android 17 is supposed to be. With this in mind, I want to ask you guys again, what do you think of Android 17 now that we know everything that's coming? In my opinion, the betas plus everything that we saw today make it feel like a full, complete release this year. There is a lot to look forward to, especially if you're on the latest Pixel, but hey, let me know what you think down in the comments. Until next time, this is Jordan Floyd from 9to5 Google. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.